In a quiet corner of the world where steam rises gently from miso soup each morning and schoolchildren bow before meals to thank the rice, fish, and vegetables on their plates, an extraordinary experiment in collective well-being has unfolded, not in laboratories or hospitals, but in kitchens, classrooms, and workplaces. This is not a story about miracle cures or expensive supplements. It is about a society that learned, over generations, to treat health not as a personal struggle but as a shared responsibility. And the results speak in lifespans that stretch longer than almost anywhere else on Earth. At the heart of this quiet revolution lies a simple but radical idea: what you eat, how you eat it, and why you eat it matter just as much as how much you exercise or how often you visit a doctor. This nation did not achieve its remarkable longevity through medical breakthroughs alone. Instead, it wove wellness into the fabric of daily life, into school curriculums, company policies, family rituals, and even legal frameworks. Health became cultural, habitual, almost invisible in its omnipresence, like the air people breathe. Consider the school lunch. In many parts of the world, it is a hurried affair of plastic-wrapped sandwiches or reheated nuggets served under fluorescent lights. But in this country, lunch is a lesson in patience, gratitude, and balance. Children do not just eat, they prepare, serve, clean, and reflect. The meal arrives not as a commodity but as a gift, carefully composed of many small dishes: simmered vegetables, grilled fish, fermented soy, seaweed, pickles, and rice. No single item dominates. There is no dessert, no soda, no hidden sugar. Everything is real, seasonal, local. And before the first bite, a quiet phrase is spoken, not a prayer, but a recognition: this food once lived, and now it sustains us. That moment of awareness, repeated daily from age 6 onward, plants a seed. It teaches that eating is not consumption, but connection. This philosophy did not emerge by accident. It was forged in the ashes of war. When the nation lay in ruins after a devastating conflict, food was scarce. Yet leaders chose not to abandon nutritional science. In fact, they enshrined it. They passed laws that made dietitians essential in public health, and decades later, they mandated that every subject in school, whether math, science, or art, must find a way to teach children about food. A principal who ignored this duty could face consequences. Not because the government wanted to control plates, but because it understood that a nation's strength begins in the gut, in the immune system, in the quiet rhythm of digestion shaped by what lands on the table each day. The dietary pattern that emerged follows 6 silent rules: natural, fresh, diverse, light, balanced, and moderate. Meals are not about volume but variety. A single plate might hold 10 different ingredients, each in modest amounts. This diversity ensures the body receives a wide spectrum of nutrients without overload. Crucially, people stop before they are full, leaving room for the stomach to rest, for digestion to work without strain. This practice, known for centuries in Eastern thought, has now been validated by modern science. Eating less reduces metabolic stress, slows aging, and lowers the risk of chronic disease. But here, it is not a diet trend. It is simply how people eat. Cooking methods reinforce this restraint. Food is rarely deep-fried or drowned in oil. Instead, it is steamed to preserve tenderness, simmered in broths that draw out essence, or served cold to celebrate freshness. Animal protein appears, but never as the centerpiece. It is an accent, perhaps a small fillet of mackerel or a few slices of beef, always dwarfed by vegetables, legumes, and sea plants. The 5 basic tastes, salty, sweet, sour, bitter, and umami, are all present, but in harmony, never shouting over one another. The result is food that satisfies without overwhelming, nourishes without burdening. Perhaps most striking is what is absent. Processed meats like sausages or deli ham are rare. Packaged snacks laced with hidden sugars and fats are seen as occasional indulgences, not staples. There is no glorification of supersized portions or 24/7 eating. Meals have beginning and end, structure and rhythm. And because food is treated with reverence, waste is almost unthinkable. Leftovers are repurposed, peels are pickled, bones become broth. Nothing is discarded lightly, because nothing is taken for granted. This approach extends beyond the kitchen. Employers play a surprising role. For years, companies have been required to monitor waistlines, not as a tool of shame, but as an early warning system for metabolic risk. Workers who fall outside healthy ranges are not punished. Instead, they are offered guidance, support, and time to adjust. The goal is prevention, not punishment. This reflects a deeper belief that health is not just an individual choice, but a collective asset. When one person thrives, the workplace functions better. When a community stays well, the burden on hospitals lightens. Health becomes infrastructure, like roads or electricity, essential, maintained, and shared. Now, this model did not spring from nowhere. Many of its roots trace back centuries, intertwined with cultural exchanges across the sea. Ancient philosophies about balance, seasonality, and harmony with nature traveled and took root, but over time, they were refined, systematized, and woven into modern governance. What other societies might treat as folklore or tradition, this nation transformed into policy, curriculum, and daily habit. It did not reject science, it married it with wisdom. And this is where the story becomes not just fascinating, but urgently relevant. In a world where processed foods flood shelves, where eating is often rushed or distracted, where health feels like a luxury or a personal failing, this quiet discipline offers a different path. It suggests that longevity is not about extreme measures, fasting for days, buying superfoods, or spending hours in gyms, but about consistency, mindfulness, and community. It is about building a culture where the healthy choice is also the easy, normal, even joyful choice. Imagine a society where school children learn to cook with seasonal vegetables, where workplaces encourage walking meetings, where meals are shared without screens, where food is appreciated rather than devoured. This is not a utopian fantasy. It is a lived reality in one corner of the world, and it is replicable, not by copying menus or laws, but by adopting the underlying spirit, that health is woven into how we live, not just how we treat illness. Of course, no system is perfect. Urbanization, globalization, and the lure of convenience threaten these traditions even in their homeland. Younger generations face new pressures, new foods, new rhythms. Yet the foundation remains strong because it was built not on fads, but on values passed down through rice bowls and classroom lessons. For the rest of the world, the lesson is not to eat like this nation, but to think like it. To ask, what if we treated food as sacred? What if schools taught not just reading and math, but how to nourish a body for life? What if employers saw wellness not as a cost, but as an investment in human dignity? What if stopping before full was seen not as deprivation, but as wisdom? Longevity, it turns out, is less about adding more years to life and more about adding more life to years. And that begins not in a pharmacy, but at the table, with gratitude, balance, and a quiet understanding that every bite is a choice, not just for yourself, but for the society you help shape. If this perspective shifted something for you, even just a little, take a moment to like the video and share it with someone who cares about living well, not just living long. And if you're curious to explore more about how everyday choices shape our health, our joy, and our future, hit subscribe and tap the bell. Because the smallest habits, practiced with intention, can echo for a lifetime. Thanks for watching, and remember, the next meal is another chance to nourish more than just your body.